Hello and welcome to the Stronghold Digital Mining Daily Update. Today is Tuesday, November 28th, 2023. So this is something of an experiment. We're doing a screen recording and I'm evidently appearing in a circle on the screen as well. So I'm not entirely sure we're going to do a lot of updates like this, but I at least wanted to experiment with this new piece of technology. All I really wanted to point out is what you noticed as well today, right? Which is that the stock price for shares of Stronghold Digital Mining started to show a little bit of life in combination with a little bit more volume than usual. Now, this is a 6-month chart, and as you can see, back here during the month of August, shares of this company really moved a lot higher, closer to around $10 a share. Now, this is indicating that the 52-week range is $3.46 on the low end, right? And $12.50 on the high end. We're trading at what, like about $4 and say roughly 50 cents at this point. So bear in mind, it wasn't that long ago, a couple of weeks ago even, where we were down in the $3 range. I think some of us were even thinking, hey, there's a chance we might retest that 52-week low. We didn't quite get, that far down, but nevertheless, we were in the $3 territory. Now we are back in the mid fours, and I think the potential exists for the shares of this company, right, of Stronghold Digital Mining, to not go down below $4 again this year. Now, I hope I didn't just jinx the stock price by saying that, but I do notice that the price of Bitcoin is starting to move up. I do notice that overall, right, the publicly traded Bitcoin mining ecosystem, right, shares of many of our peers that are publicly traded have been moving higher on pretty good volume. Like today, we had very pronounced volume as compared to, I think it was a couple of days ago, we had almost like a trivial amount of shares being traded. Now, then again, we are in the midst of a holiday season here in the United States, but still, I do think it is noteworthy that our shares are starting to show some signs of life. And as I've said before, it would not necessarily surprise me because look at how quickly this happened in July. We were down around like $4 a share, kind of like where we are right now. And look at what happened. We went all the way up to pretty much $10 a share in, a matter of about maybe 10 days or so, 10 trading days. So this can happen very, very quickly. And I'm wondering, as we look at where the stock price is right now, are we potentially setting up to see shares of Stronghold Digital Mining really accelerate, especially if, this is a really big if, right? But if on December 12th, Tuesday, December 12th, the day of our, investor/analyst day, if we get some truly remarkable news from Stronghold Digital Mining, that can act as an accelerant for any movement that has already, right, or any momentum that has already begun to take shape as it relates to the stock price. We may potentially get a news release before December 12th. That, I believe, can also potentially act as an accelerant. So that's where we're at this point in time. Now, needless to say, right, for every share of this company that's being bought, it almost by definition means that the same number of shares are being sold. So who's selling the stock at around $4.50 a share? I don't know. But I do know that if we start to see more and more momentum build with the price of Bitcoin, if we start to see more money flowing into the publicly traded Bitcoin mining ecosystem, Stronghold Digital Mining, as compared to our peers, I believe has probably more room to rise simply because we have been traded down to really practically nothing. I mean, our market capitalization is a joke. It's laughable. So, from my perspective, we have a lot of movement that needs to take place in the stock price just to kind of get back into the realm of being somewhat more equivalently valued as compared to our peers. Okay, so that's, I think, one thing. The second thing is that if we do begin to see a real pickup in momentum, right, a real December rally, right, in shares of publicly traded Bitcoin mining companies, I do think that Stronghold Digital Mining will be a beneficiary of that type of activity. And so it's very likely that we can not only experience our shares moving higher simply because, you know what, we need to catch up, right, with our peers. We need to regain a little bit of a semblance of, sort of, I don't want to say normalcy, right, but a sense that, hey, our valuation is at least within the range of not being like a joke. I mean, we're being priced as if though bankruptcy is tomorrow, right? And from my perspective, that's not the case, right? In fact, we are arguably on the precipice of what could be one of the most really remarkable business turnarounds in, like, I don't want to say in history, but certainly, within the scope of the Bitcoin mining, right, publicly traded Bitcoin mining ecosystem. I do think Stronghold Digital Mining stands out as being one of the most versatile companies out there, right? I mean, not only do we own our own, right, mine waste, right, to energy facilities, which produce electricity. We can sell that electricity into the PJM grid, right? That's something a lot of other Bitcoin mining companies can't do because they don't own their own power generating assets. Now we're at a point where it is increasingly likely that we're going to be able to capture carbon and monetize that. So yet again, that's something that differentiates us in a pretty meaningful way from our peers. So, we may go from a company that's like radically undervalued to maybe a company that's somewhat fairly valued to perhaps even a company that carries a premium simply because we have so much optionality as it relates to how we generate revenue. That brings me to my final thought. My final thought is that we do need to generate positive adjusted EBITDA by practically any means necessary, right? I understand that for many, adjusted EBITDA is BS, right? Right, and people sort of like knock that as a metric. I hear you. The thing is, though, right, our management team, our board of directors, right, hey, we all look at adjusted EBITDA as a metric that most accurately reflects what's going on in the business. Now, you may disagree with that, and I hear you. But I do think that if management, the board of directors, right, hey, if collectively as co-owners and shareholders of this business, we all have to kind of come together to have a number, right, that we can all look at and say, this is going to be the number against which we measure our performance. And so if it's to be adjusted EBITDA, and that's something I fully accept as being the number, right, then I do believe, right, quite passionately that we need to, and I know we're doing this, but I'm just sort of saying it out loud, right? What I think some of us think in the quiet moments of our, sort of like reflection, right, when we're thinking about things. Hey, I think what we're all thinking is, yeah, we got to get some positive adjusted EBITDA. Right? Hey, we love the optionality we have with revenue. We love the carbon capture initiative. It truly has the potential to be revolutionary, right, for the finances of this business. But at the end of the day, we got to see, we got to start seeing some positive, results from this. Okay, we need to start seeing that positive adjusted EBITDA. And so I'm very optimistic that we, and when I say we, I mean Stronghold Digital Mining's management, right? And from the management all the way down, everybody's focused on the mission. The mission is you got to stay in business. You got to be in the game long enough to ride the wave of this next cycle. That's not only going to bring, I think, a lot of momentum to the stock price. I do think it's going to bring a lot of momentum to revenue, which in turn can bring a lot of momentum ultimately to adjusted EBITDA. Okay, With all of that said, let's stay positive, let's be great, and we will see each other again tomorrow. And as I said, this is very experimental using this type of screen capture technology. We will get better with it as we go a little bit further with it. So, okay, I'll see you soon.